Did you know that Rosalina could not only be Peach's sister, but she also has a brother that almost nobody remembers? And with the new Super Mario Galaxy movie, we're left completely confused about her true origin, since Rosalina's story in the movie is very different from her story in the video game. But with the little we know, we can already get an idea of her whole life and story in the Mario universe. So get ready, because today you're going to understand who Rosalina really is and how she connects to what we saw in the Super Mario Galaxy movie. In the movie, Rosalina is introduced to us as a mysterious princess from space about whom apparently not much is known. They only showed us that she is Peach's older sister and that they were living together on a small planet since they were children. They played, laughed, and had fun together. But the most surprising thing of all is that both of them possessed a rather unusual power. And the thing is, together they could combine their powers to create life and make that power even stronger. It's not just any power. And that's why Bowser was trying to get the power of these two girls so he could conquer the universe. So Rosalina made a pretty tough decision. She separated from Peach to protect her. For this reason, she sends her to the Mushroom Kingdom and stays alone. Over time, Rosalina trained herself and built her army of Lumas. They call her Mom, and she becomes their guide through space. She protects space, just like Peach protects the Mushroom Kingdom. What's interesting is that with this story, we get the sense that Peach, besides Rosalina, might have more family out there on other planets. Following the logic of the movie, it's most likely that Daisy is also part of Rosalina and Peach's family. This leaves us with a big question. What happened to their parents? Some of you might mention that in Rosalina's diary that we saw in the movie, she says that both she and Peach are made of stardust. But it's not like they magically came out of space because of some comet or some star that exploded. The explanation is very interesting because if you didn't know, everything in the universe is made of stardust, even us. And it's not just me saying it, science says it. So most likely in Peach's family there is a mom and a dad. And this is where the comparison from the video game comes in. Because I think that in a way the story changes for the movie, but at the same time it connects with some important parts of the video game story. And in the video game, they tell us exactly what happened to her parents and even that Rosalina has a brother. Because in Super Mario Galaxy, Rosalina's story doesn't start like in the movie. In the game, Rosalina is just a girl who did have a family. It's mentioned that she lived with her dad, her mom, and her brother. In fact, in this story, they also tell us that Rosalina was very afraid of losing her mom. But unfortunately, this fear comes true since her mom ends up passing away. After that, Rosalina is left with the hope that someday her mom might come back. But right at that moment when she meets a Luma who was lost, and ironically, this Luma was also looking for his mom. So the game tells us how Rosalina met the Lumas and decided to help them, probably because she already knew what it was like to lose a mom. She makes the decision to go into space without even knowing if she would ever come back. So many years go by as they try to find the little star's mom, and Rosalina grows up far from her family and in another galaxy. As time goes by, more and more Lumas arrive, and they stay because they trust her. So without realizing it, Rosalina became their mother. And since Rosalina understood that she would never return home, together with the Lumas, they built what would become the observatory, their new home in space. But at some point, Rosalina decided to return to her home planet so she wouldn't forget where she came from. But unfortunately, she can no longer find her family. Even so, she decides to return every 100 years to visit her favorite planet and not let it be forgotten. This explains the comet shower we have at the beginning of the Super Mario Galaxy game. So, within the game, Rosalina's story is quite sad and tragic because she practically lost her entire family and grew up alone in space. There's no mention here about Peach being her sister or how she was able to find her. So, how does all of this connect with what they showed us in the movie? This is explained with 3 different theories. It's believed that both Rosalina and Peach do have parents, and that it's possible we might finally meet them in the next Mario movies. Although something tells us that, based on the story we see in the video game, they might have already passed away. Even so, as we've seen in the Mario movies, they love giving us flashbacks to when they were kids, and that's where they would show us more about their parents. Another theory tells us that the brother mentioned in the video game might have been adapted in the movie so that now it's not a brother but a sister with Peach as that sister. It could be that those two, and possibly Daisy as well, are from the planet where the Mushroom Kingdom is located. And here the story would be adapted so that not only Rosalina goes to help look for the mother of the Lumas, but Peach also went with her. That's why we saw them on a planet floating in outer space, very similar to the story in the video game when Rosalina and the Lumas stay on a planet. And finally, the third theory explains to us that most likely Rosalina is not a full biological sister, but rather she may have also been taken in when she was very young, and made her part of his family, just like he did with the Lumas. We know that Peach also shares the same power as Rosalina, and maybe that's why she didn't want to leave her alone, since Rosalina also already knew that there were evil forces that wanted to take advantage of this same power. And in fact, that was the reason why Rosalina decided to send Peach to the Mushroom Kingdom. Knowing this, it also seems possible that Peach and Rosalina are not the only ones with this power. There could be more, and this is where Daisy comes in. People connected to that same power, but who are on different planets. And that's why they would be sisters, not by blood, but rather because of the power they were possibly born with and share. And this is what we know so far about Rosalina. Leave a comment if you discovered any other details. See you in the next video.